Hello, everyone, and welcome to Breathe Motivation. My name is Anthony Hester. I'm your host and founder of Breathe Motivation. It is episode 131. So glad you guys could join us today. My goal is to help you find your purpose and passion in everything you do on a day-to-day basis, and that's why I'm here Sunday through Saturday, because I know everyone needs a little motivation each and every day. So let's recap yesterday. So yesterday we talked about humility, and I think it's important for us to be humble in what we stand for, what we believe, and we've got to be able to really take life and enjoy life the way it's meant to be, and not be, kind of overzealous or over, kind of aggressive in who we are in the pursuit of what we are. Our goal is to, really embrace life and embrace it in a great way that we can share that with others versus, really picking on others. Sometimes when you think of humility and things like that, it's not, society's created into being something, not very sexy, right? It's something that people kind of frown upon now because they love the loud and rambunctious person. But, humility is what creates greatness within, and, it creates a peace within. So be humble, be, courteous, be confident in who you are, and just enjoy that and be able to spread, humility and help people to be humble as well. That creates success within you. So that was yesterday. Today we are going to talk about igniting your fire. So I think that's important for us to know, is that we've got to be able to know what we want and go after it no matter what, right? So let me give you the definition. So the definition for today is fire. So it's combustion or burning in which substances combine chemically with oxygen from air and typically give out bright light, heat, and smoke. So I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and it's interesting to see where we get, sometimes in life when we feel like our wall, our walls, our backs are against the wall, right? It's really interesting to see where we're at. A lot of us, tend to start losing focus on who we are and what really, lights our fire, lights our soul on fire, right? We go in, we have so much passion, and we have a purpose of what we want to accomplish. And then when our backs are against the wall, some people just start to, just give up. But there's this fire inside of you that, you get so excited about. What do you guys get excited about? What is it that, creates that fire within you? And I know you guys have all experienced it, right? There have been times where, I get on this, this microphone and I'm like just pumped up to, give this message, because that's what lights my fire, lights my fire. It gets me excited to be here every day with you guys, because I know we're getting better and we get positive, right? So you've got to think about it as, when you're on fire, nothing can stop you. Right? Fires, are looked at as it's dangerous and scary. And yeah, it should be looked at that way, because it can do a lot of, harm, or, but it's the same thing within you. You can do great things and you can conquer the world if you have that fire burning within you, right? We've got to be able to really take what we want out of life and go after it and get it. Burn things down in order for us to really get what we want. We've got to be able to be excited about what we do in life. And I think so many times we stop chasing what we want out of fear, right? Fear is the biggest cause for people to stop doing what they're doing, right? It's caging. You get caught in this cage, and, you get trapped, and, it starts to get dark. But that's what that fire's for, right? In that definition, it's a bright light, a heat, a smoke, right? You start to see these things happening, and you've got to remember to see those things within you. Find those things that create this fire, create this passion inside you, and make sure you go after it, right? So I get challenged by people, all the time when I'm coaching and all of that good stuff. It's great, because I think sometimes within us, like I said, that fear overcomes us, right? It starts to like trap us. And then, it's very hard for, a fire to keep going if there's no oxygen being pushed to it, right? So you've got to be able to create that oxygen. And that's what I call breathe motivation, right? It's that fire, you've got to be able to breathe to live. And if you're not breathing, you're dying, right? And it sounds very dramatic, and it's the same thing with a fire. If you let that fire diffuse, guess what? It's very hard to get back up and really go after it. So you've got to understand what lights that fire within you, and continue to do those things, because when you do that, guess what? Success follows, right? And greatness follows. And you are going to become fearless in the things that you thought you were never possible. But you've got to be able to have that just excitement and that passion for life, right? Every day you should be able to wake up and and just go after what you want. Don't just sit there and hope and wish that things are going to happen for you. One thing that I talked to, this person yesterday, I was coaching them, and, one of the things that I looked at was, a lot of the things that we think about others are the ways that we feel about ourselves, right? If we start to feel, these things, and, you start to look at things like, fear or abandonment, or, you're feeling alone, you feel all these things, you got to look at where that place comes from and look at the situations in which you're in. A lot of the times when you start to feel that thing, those things, or anxiety or things like that, a lot of times you're so future based that you cannot look at what you're doing in the present. And when you start to look at the future and say, when I used to look at it, as I was getting older, man, I've only got so much time to live, and I've got to be able to make things happen. I've got to get, my mind would race, and my mind would start to focus on all these things. And then my fire would start to just kind of go out, and I wouldn't be able to really understand where I was going, because I was so focused on other things that at the time did not matter. I can't dictate the future. In a way I can. And you can dictate the future as well. It's all about what you do in the present. So if you stand still in the present, guess what? It's going to be very hard for your future to grow and to find success, right? You've got to be able to define what you want, live your life in intention, and go after whatever you want. And you've got to do it with purpose, right? With fire. Be excited for the new challenges that you're getting, right? There are going to be challenges in life that look like they're going to kick your butt. And they might kick your butt for a while, but I promise you'll overcome it. Promise. It always happens. If you believe within yourself that you can do anything, things will happen. And you've got to be able to find that confidence within yourself to learn, grow, and get better. Stop being so fearful of the things that haven't happened yet, right? We oftentimes create these things and these scenarios that haven't even happened, and they appear real. That's how powerful our minds are. So imagine if you start to put your mind on the greatness that you can accomplish, or the greatness within others, right? A lot of times in relationships, we see, we're always looking at the things that, people don't do. Let's focus on the things they can do and really start to focus on that. And guess what? You'll be amazed at the encouragement that they get and the excitement that they get in life to be able to do the things that you really want them to do, or the things that they expect of you to do, right? The relationships get better. So you've got to be able to imagine within your mind these capabilities that you have. Right? So if you focus on your weaknesses, right? I used to tell myself all the time, I'm not worthy of this, or, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve great things. I don't deserve great relationships, because that's all I heard. And then at some point I had to decide, man, I'm going to light this on fire, and I'm going to light this thought on fire, and it's never going to exist again. And every once in a while it'll creep back up, and I'm like, you know what? That was gone. I don't want that thought anymore. I deserve greatness. I deserve success, and I'm going to work hard to get it. Now, one of the biggest things that we look at as far as that fire burning inside of you, you've got to be able to continue to light that fire. And there's going to be times that it starts to dim, but you've got to be able to remember that you are powerful, you're in control of that fire, and you've got to be positive about your success and positive about your life, right? Negativity is like that water that starts to douse the fire, right? You start to douse that fire with water and it goes away. Don't ever get to the point of, dousing yourself with water, right? You can do whatever you put your mind to, but we got to remember that, right? The mind is so powerful. I don't know how many times I've thought, people around me were getting sick, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick. And what ended up happening? I got sick. And not saying that at the end of the day, obviously there's some science behind it and all of that stuff. But when you start to focus on all these things, when I start to focus on negative things, guess what? That's all I can really see are the negatives in everything. The negatives in my life, the negatives in people, the negatives in all of, what's going around me, right? And then we start to feel this woe is me, I can't get anything done because of this, right? So we start to blame everybody. We start to blame people. We start to blame the economy. We start to blame all of these things. And guess what? It's nobody's fault. We've got to be able to take responsibility for us. And you've got to be able to take responsibility for that fire within you. If you don't like something, change it, right? A lot of us get so worried about, changing careers or changing, friends or whoever that looks like. And a lot of the times it's better for us, right? So when I look at, some of my friends, there were friends that I had that were terrible friends, and I had to get rid of them because they weren't helping me to keep my fire alive. There are people in my life that I want to be able to, I set myself on fire to be able to accomplish things because I want great things for my family, right? That's the vision. I want great things for my wife and I. I want great things for my family. I want, when we have kids, I want to have great things for them. I want them to be able to look at us and say, hey, you know what? My parents set a great example for me. I want to be able to continue on that legacy, or I want to continue on and create my own path, right? So we've got to be able to be fearless in the pursuit of what sets our soul on fire. We've got to be able to go after whatever we want and decide what we want and win no matter what. No matter what gets in our way, remember that fire inside you is still there. You've got to be able to fan it. And sometimes you've got to be able to douse that with, just passion, positivity. You douse it with that, right? And then the fire is going to explode and you're going to be on fire and things are going to happen for you because you believe in the success of you. So you've got to be able to do that and continue to do that no matter what. Just always focus on positives. And it's, challenging. Like I said, I'm not perfect. Not every day do I focus on positives, but I've got to remember to focus on the positives that are creating that fire within me, because that's what's going to lead to further success. So we've got to continue to do that. Be who you want. Create that fire within you. Find those things that create that. That's your purpose. That's your passion. And go after it no matter what. No matter what anybody tells you, no matter what you hear on TV, no matter what society wants you to be the person you were always meant to be. Ignite the fire within yourself. Nobody can ignite that within you except you, right? So when it comes to motivation, you're the one that creates the motivation to be able to get up and take action. I can give you my experiences and I can give you all that you need, as far as the words that you want to hear. But you've got to be able to take these words that I'm giving you and take those and set those in action. That's what we've got to do. We've got to be able to do that. We've got to be able to create the fire within. And when you do that, you start to create the life that you want. You start to give the light of yourself to other people. And then you start to ignite other people's fires. And then it creates this wave of positivity and this heat. And, nobody can stop you when you start to get this collective group that believe in the same thing, right? You've got to be able to believe within yourself. And then you start to see that spread of fire. And as that fire starts to go, great things happen, because collectively, if I help somebody along the way, guess what? More is going to help me in the future, right? So continue to help other people along the way. So if you see somebody struggling, or you see somebody that is having trouble finding that fire, reach out to them and ask them, hey, what can I do to help you? Right? We've got to be able to be, I look at servant leadership. I always ask, what can I do to help you? Right? We've got to be able to ask that same thing to everyone, right? What can I do to help you? If you see somebody struggling, hey, what can I do to help you? Right? And then you help them, and great. Guess what? It feels good. It feels good, and it creates more excitement and positivity and creates this, wave of positivity. So continue to do that. Do all the great things that you can do. So let me leave you this quote. Every revolution begins with a spark. So find that spark within you, create this fire, and go after what you want in your life. So check out our website, breathemotivation.com. Subscribe to this podcast. Share this with your friends, family, coworkers. I greatly appreciate that. If you're listening to us on iTunes, I would really appreciate you leaving a great review if you enjoy this. So continue to do that. Continue to reach out to me on social media. I really appreciate you guys. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow on Wednesday. So as always, remember to breathe motivation and exhale success. I will see you tomorrow on Wednesday. Thanks.